What celebrity have you met that was surprisingly nice? Rude? Will Smith worked a private event for him a couple years back. He made sure to thank each and every employee when he arrived and before he left. He had the best manners and was in such a jovial mood, joking around with the staff. Great guy. Yes. My partner recently shot a thing with him, and he has so many stories about how genuinely kind Will is. He was shooting a comedy thing with Will in Vegas with maybe 10 to 15 other comedians, many of whom I also know, and everyone has a Will story. He hugged them for a true 5 minutes. He gave them a $500 poker chip. He talked to their parents on video chat. He promoted their album. He gave them advice. Great dude. I don't think anyone would be surprised that Jeff Goldblum is nice, but I can attest to it. I was an extra in a movie with him. When he arrived on the scene, some beep film crew woman was screaming at us not to bother him or ask for his autograph. He must have heard her, because he turned right around and came over to talk to us. You're right, not surprised but definitely happy to have it confirmed. A lot of Redditors mentioned Gordon Ramsay being lovely. My god sister can confirm. She worked at a hotel restaurant in Cornwall where Ramsay vacations at regularly. She was so nervous she spilt something, but he just gave her a really fatherly warm smile and went, "No, it's okay, my darling," and continued on with his conversation. When I was a kid, my family took a trip to London and we were shopping in Harrods. Being the kid I was running around while my parents shopped. I ran up to this man, looked up and said, "You look really familiar. Have we met?" And he flashes a smile and says, "No, but I get that a lot," and then he walks off. My dad came right over and went, "You do realize that was Mr. Bean you just spoke to, right?" My kids would kill me to meet Mr. Bean. They would sacrifice me on a teddy altar. Hang round a Land Rover parts department in the weekend. He will show up. I've written this before, but I worked at Much Music in Canada. Quick stand out so that Taylor Swift was extremely nice, very polite and easy to work with, smelled amazing lol, great person overall, very nice to our crew. Ryan Reynolds was a prick. People are always surprised when I say that, but out of all the celebs I had to work with, he was the worst. I don't give a beep if he's Twitter's darling right now. Fall Out Boy were nice. Patrick and Pete were kind of strange and awkward, but nice dudes overall. Robert Pattinson was so odd and strange but a really cool guy, easy, down to earth. You could tell he didn't give a beep about Twilight, but he was funny and cool about it. Treated us all with respect. Do you mind elaborating a bit on Reynolds? I personally don't care a ton for him, but I'm in the minority there. What about him was so bad? I work in the film industry. Weird Al is insanely beep nice. Like, you ask him for a photo and he'll make a 10-second video for your dad. Nice. His was honestly one of the best concerts I've ever been to, and I've seen a ton of bands. People laugh when I say that, but it's true. I changed costumes at least 7 times and never took a break. My dad met Lady Gaga at a restaurant in NYC and said she was one of the most genuinely sweet human beings he has ever met in his entire life. He called her enchanting and actually became a fan of hers after that. She did a nice show at Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami, and it was a small venue. She was very friendly with everyone and the talent was apparent. I think what had us laughing the most was her language. That lady had got one heck of a mouth on her, but never mean. Paris Hilton. I didn't meet her in person, but I worked for an airline answering phones as a supervisor. She called in to change her itinerary on New Year's Day years ago when she was very much in the public eye. It would have been about 3 o'clock a.m. where she was, and I could hear the party going on in the background. She was my very first call of the morning, where I was on the East Coast. 7 o'clock a.m. I was hungover as ******, and in no mood to be at work. She was absolutely the nicest person to deal with. She was really sweet and patient. She made small talk while I changed her reservation and seemed genuinely kind. I was pleasantly surprised. I met her in the guest artist pass area at Coachella years ago during Dirty South's set. There are metal barriers between that area and general admission area, and there was pretty much no one in the private area. She took a bunch of photos with people, danced poorly, helped a few girls hop over the barrier, and then bounced with her security. Seemed really nice, but she didn't seem to even notice that the set was fire. I used to have a job as a backstage caterer. Hands down the worst was Kenny Rogers. He pitched a beep fit about the food and threw plates at me. The best was Def Leppard, specifically Joe Elliott. Joe was very gracious and a gentleman. He insisted on helping me serve the food, then insisted I eat with them. When I said I would get in trouble for that, he said he would fix it with my boss, and he did right then on the phone. When it was time for me to leave, he walked me to the front doors of the venue, kissed me on the cheek, and told me I was a wonderful lady. He also made sure I was paid for the time I was there. My boss told me that Joe had told him that I was working the entire time. Then my boss handed me a sealed envelope. Inside was $500 and a note from Joe thanking me for the service, and for being a normal person around him. Lol, at the time, I really had no idea who he was. Not surprisingly, Def Leppard became one of my favorite bands. He went out of his way to make me feel at ease and comfortable. From a celebrity, this is extremely courteous. Back when they were filming Lord of the Rings All the Hobbits, Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, Billy Boyd, and Dominic Monaghan, came into my mom's video store and wanted to rent all of Peter Jackson's movies. They were so excited to have a movie marathon. I thought it was super cute. Edit, they were nice smiley face. But, you had a movie marathon early this morning. We had one, yes. But what about the second marathon? All jokes aside, what a great anecdote. It's pretty well established that he's nice, but Hugh Jackman is one of the nicest human beings I've ever encountered. A friend of mine went to the premiere of X-Men Origins Wolverine and they camped out by the theater. He said he woke up and he was told that Hugh Jackman had bought everyone who camped breakfast. It was a little breakfast sandwich and an orange juice, I believe. He also said there was at least 100 people there. Robert Downey Jr. We were on the same flight. Super personable, witty. I didn't realize it was him at first. I know a guy who used to party with him before he got sober, and even in his hardcore days, he was a really nice guy to everyone. Met Vincent Price when I was a kid. He was speaking at the college where my parents worked, and since our house was next to the auditorium, we usually hosted the meet and greets. I was only supposed to be allowed in with the grown-ups long enough to say hello, but when I blurted out how much I liked scary movies, he stopped to talk. He was extraordinarily patient and kind to a 9-year-old kid who just wanted to talk monster movies and show off his monster dioramas. I am so incredibly envious of you. What an amazing celebrity to have met, and my heart is soaring knowing he was a pleasant person. Entire cast of Teen Wolf. Couldn't be a nicer group of people I've ever worked with. I met both William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy at different times. Shatner was a jerk and just wasn't very nice at all. I've been around him twice and he was the same both times. Leonard, on the other hand, was incredibly cool. He was giving a talk at the place where I work and we all knew he was coming, so we sat at a table outside near the entrance so we could see when he arrived. His security people led him from the car to the building and we said hello as he passed. They took him inside a private green room to relax before he went on. To our surprise, after the handlers dropped him off at the green room, he came back outside, sat down with us and just hung out. We talked about food and cool places to see nearby. We just chatted like he was one of the crew. Class act guy. One of the neatest celebrity encounters I've had. A good friend of mine sold Shatner a horse. She said he was incredibly rude and condescending and she'd be okay with never doing business with him again. It was my first time in NYC. Just got off the plane and had my luggage in hand walking to my Airbnb. It was probably 2 a.m. and I heard a very distinct laugh. I looked across the alley and it was Sal from the Impractical Jokers standing outside of a comedy club smoking weed with his buddies. I went up and got a picture and talked about what to do in the city. I told him I'm from Oklahoma and he almost fell down laughing and said, "Nobody is really from Oklahoma." It was great. Super cool dude. You met Sal? He's probably the #1 celeb I want to meet more than Chuck Norris or whoever. Yay, it was funny. My fiancé and I booked the trip about 4 months in advance and I kept telling her, I can't wait to meet the Jokers. She constantly said I need to cool it. Then it happened before we could even get rid of our luggage. I told Sal that story and he said, "No way. That's beep crazy. There's over 8 million people in this city and you found me." It is probably not at all surprising, but I met Allison Brie about 10 years ago and she was super lovely. It was in NYC.